the Kerala numbers, if we have a bar graph or some idea of what Kerala's success story has been, it has actually been the most successful state as far as handling the coronavirus is concerned. And if you look at that graph on your screens, you can see how steadily Kerala has brought that graph down. It's one state where you're actually seeing a downward, a decline, a downward path as far as the number of cases are concerned and the number of dead are concerned. So Kerala's story really has been something that has come in from praise from many quarters. We have Kerala's Finance Minister, Mr. Thomas Issac, joining us live on NDTV this evening. Mr. Issac, thanks very much for being with us, sir. Let me first ask you about, what your thoughts are on the Prime Minister's announcement today that this lockdown is now in effect till the 3rd of May, with perhaps some relaxations in those districts which don't see cases. How did you see this announcement? Was this something you felt was necessary?
Yeah, I don't think there is any other choice before the country when the number of cases are steadily increasing day by day. We cannot, if you withdraw the lockdown, then I think we'll be opening the way for a pandemic spread. Therefore, there's no choice. But I am very, put off that the PM has not tried to understand or draw the proper lessons from the last 3 weeks. One is our testing being done is totally inadequate, and there has been no promise that there will be test kits and so on sufficient enough, not just for the capital city but for the country as a whole to scale it up, what is happening now. Secondly, another lesson, and the lesson for Kerala is that we have been, our relatively, till very few days back, we have been the highest in the number of testing that were being done in the country. And that is what helped us to keep it down. Second is that Delhi experience of migrant laborers wholesale moving out on foot to their villages proves that unless you take care of the people who are locked down, the compliance is going to decrease. Now 3 weeks have gone. I don't think there will be anybody if anything is left from the savings. And therefore, there should have been some announcement of additional help and package that would have been given. And 3, all the states in the country are red. There is no income, you see, there is no income for the governments. And what do you do in such a situation? All the states, in fact, 5 states have already declared deferring the wages or salaries of employees. So I think it's important to support the states. What I meant to say is that when you are extending the lockdown, please go through the experience of the last 3 weeks, draw appropriate lessons, and take some remedial measures.
Mr. Issac, the Food Minister, Mr. Paswan, spoke to NDTV yesterday, and he said that as far as feeding the poor is concerned, that states should invoke the Disaster Relief Act and distribute more food from go-downs to the poor. Now, is there a constraint that states have to be able to act on this at the state level?
Definitely that would be, but that is one of the things that should be done. But our experience is that after the lockdown started, we asked for additional food grains, which was denied. So there is something slip between the statement and what formally acts. Perhaps now they have taken a due decision, which is welcome. See, food deficits, chronically food deficit states like Kerala, you can't take the normal standards which you apply for the rest of the country. We produce only 15% of our food requirements. I don't think there is any other state in India of that situation. And therefore, special attention must be given to states like Kerala.
And for migrants specifically, would you want to see special trains and special buses being organized to transport them back home. We were just talking to Delhi's Deputy Chief Minister. They feel that people just need to stay where they are. And that it's imperative for people to, in these difficult times, to stay indoors. But as you pointed out, that is going to be a big challenge because we are already into a 21 days of a lockdown, and these are people who are now desperate.
Therefore, what we have done in Kerala is we asked the local governments to monitor all the camps of migrant workers, and if they are not comfortable enough, create new camps and guarantee them food. If they don't want the cooked food, provide them with material. Something of the sort has got to be done, you see. You cannot leave them to their fate. The migrant laborers who are in the cities, they don't have ration cards, therefore this additional 5 kg, etc. do not apply to them. They may not have the Jandan accounts to receive the 500 rupees that are being given. Therefore, something very urgent and drastic need to be done to make life for these people comfortable, so they stay to where they are now. Otherwise, after some time, people become desperate, like what happened in Bandra today. So it's very, very important that central government enlarge its package, 1.7 lakh crore rupees, most of it which is front loading already that is budgeted. Actual transfer would be much less. Now, when you compare with the transfers that are taking place in other countries, for example, USA, every citizen is given say 1 lakh rupees. I mean, of course, we are not going to, we cannot afford to do what USA does, but this 500 rupees is
not much.
Low.
Absolutely, absolutely. Mr. Issac, finally, one final question. What is the one reason you would say that Kerala has been able to keep this growth curve and has been able to successfully fight the coronavirus by and large? What was the one factor you think that helped you?
Let me give you 3 reasons, not just one.
Okay, 3.
1,
quickly.
The importance of public health system. 2, that you test aggressively, trace, isolate. This is very, very important. Lockdown alone would not do. And 3, well, even before the national package came, we extended our hands to the people, 20,000 crores of a package to make pure relief work, virtually relief work. So all these 3 have to go together.
All right, Mr. Thomas Issac, thanks very much for joining us. As you said, lockdown alone isn't enough. You need to aggressively test, to trace and to isolate. And here's hoping that that finally happens when those test kits arrive that India has ordered in the country in a few days. Thanks very much for joining us. And that's all we have time for at the moment. Thanks for joining us.